Askwomen. How old were you when you had your first kiss? I'm definitely the latest bloomer of all my friends. My first kiss was at age 20, literally yesterday, and I'm still thinking about it. 19 BTW, well, I'm 24 and still not there yet. So who knows? Edit, why does my sad comment have more upvotes than the post? RIP, upside down face. Thanks for all your emotional support though. 17. She was my best friend and we ended up going out for a couple of years. Also, whether you have your first kiss at 13 or 33, it's NBD. Everyone's just on their own path, smiley face. I'm over 40 and it hasn't happened. I think it's important for other women to know that for some women these things just never happen, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person or anything. Undesirable women still have value as human beings. I had my first kiss 2 years ago at age 22. I was homeschooled until the 11th grade. My family traveled for years and then settled down in the country. Not a lot of boys, not a lot of white guys who were interested in a black girl either. In the 12th grade I went to public school for 3 days, hated it, got my GED. I started working and was too busy saving up for university, a car, and attending community college to date. My first kiss was with this guy I was crazy about. We dated for a month and we were crazy about each other. He asked me to be his girlfriend and then hugged me in the car. He held me for a moment and kissed me. He saw a puzzled look on my face. I felt like I didn't do it right. He said, "Was that okay?" And I said, I think we should do that one more time to be sure." He kissed me again and I was on cloud 9. I could have kissed him 1,000 more times. We got married this April, blue heart, going on 6 months. 16 and it was awful. The guy basically just slobbered all over my face and I had spent all evening trying to avoid him but he cornered me. 12. It was at a sleepover. I kissed a girl and I liked it. 21 to 22, can't remember exactly. We used to go out for all kinds of ice cream then make out. He was my ice cream friend with benefits. I was 17. My ex flew in all the way from another country to meet me. He brought me to a fancy restaurant at the top of a tower and at the observation deck was where he made the first move. It's one of the sweetest memories that I still hold on to. 17. He was a good friend in my class. We can barely connect in mind, but it's obvious he knows what I need. We're still together to this day and it's been 3 years. 22. 12. He walked me home and before leaving he wrote a text if he could kiss me and I said yes. Really cute memorie. Edit, followed me home changed to walked me home. I was 14. At the time, it felt like I had waited forever, because once I hit puberty, I was so interested in sex. I was 13 and felt like I was way too late already. The worst thing about this, he was 18. I cringe so hard when I think about this now. How can a 18-years-old guy like 13-year-old girls? He was my boyfriend for a while as well, BBRRR, 16. And now I'm only a few days away from my 18th birthday and I'm still with the boy who was my first kiss. Smile. I am 27 and still haven't had it. Doubting that I'll ever will. 14 and it was traumatic KF. I was 15 and it was with a 19-year-old boy that I met at the mall. I thought I was so cool that an older kid was into me but now I just cringe at the age gap. Lol. I was 13. At the time I was totally like, how cool am I? Now with over a decade of life experience since then, I'm more oh boy, I was probably a bit too young and naive. 10. Those 2 weeks elementary relationships were intense. 26 years old, just 2 days ago. Super worth the wait, I have to say. I was 17. I was also 17 when I had my last kiss, and that was 11 years ago. I was 23 and the sad thing is was with a guy that didn't even really like me. It seemed like I waited forever but I would have waited longer to take that one back, haha. Definitely not as good when the feelings aren't mutual. 4. Yeah, I know, that's not real, right? Except the same boy and I kissed regularly for the next 5 years. Yes, on the lips. I didn't kiss another boy until I was 14. Almost kissed one when I was 12-13, but I never got up the nerve. 16. It was with my high school boyfriend and it was really slobbery. Haven't had it yet, I'm 17. But TBH, I'd rather wait another few years and get it right than rush myself and do it with the wrong person. 25 and so glad I waited for someone amazing, heart. 25 and still waiting. 24, really late bloomer. 17. I went on a blind double date set up by a friend. We went to see a movie. He kept making out with me all night, started from about an hour after we met up. Quite the first time really. 19. He kissed me while we sat underneath the sky of literal fireworks. Smile, we're married now. 28. I was trying to be flirty and asked the guy to teach me how to kiss. He looked at me blankly before saying it's not hard. I deflated and said, oh. We still kissed. I've teased myself about that for 11 years. When you find someone adorable as awkward as you are, they just might be a keeper. Smiley face. 23. It doesn't even seem that late to me until I see threads like this. 23. I was in a strict religious community before then and was told I would go to hell for kissing a boy before marriage. But then I did it anyway and I'm going to hell, but maybe there's kissing there, so that's cool. 16 with a boy, 17 with a girl, 12. With my, at the time, super hot, huge crush, 14-year-old neighbor. It was so blissful that I iced went upstairs, it happened in my living room, and stared at the wall because I was in complete bliss shock. We continued to sneak around for about a month more until his family moved away. Of course, in that month there was a lot of him being a 14-year-old jerk, me discovering he had other girlfriends, him claiming to love me, etc. Hey, it was still a fun time and I wasn't scarred or anything from it. I also was a pretty not attractive 12-year-old, so this happening was extra mind-blowing for me at the time. 14, but it was awful. We kind of just smushed our mouths together. My lips stayed sealed shut while he got slobber all over them, and then he said that was kind of sideways. Let's do it again, and then we did the same exact thing. Oh my god, I can't even think about it without cringing. My second kiss, when I was 16, was infinitely better, and it was a French kiss. A little awkward, but the guy I was with was much more sweet and understanding and our chemistry was great. Later he bragged to our mutual friends how proud he was of me because I was so good at it even though it was my first time. Smiley face. I actually consider that to be my first kiss rather than the other one, not only because it was much better but because I actually reciprocated, rather than just keeping my mouth tight shut. Locked, because this really isn't the place to argue in favor of adults getting into romantic situations with young teens. Congratulations Epstein wannabes, you're why we can't have nice things. 14. He ended up not being that good for me and we dated for about 2 years. Last year, I was 25. Was expecting to feel fireworks for my first kiss, but it didn't really feel like much at all. Kissing still doesn't do much for me for some reason. Here's the story. I was a little girl. Maybe 7? I'm unsure. I was playing in a McDonald's playground and this very funny boy kept making me laugh. He was super cute too. Me and my 2 brothers, him and his brother and sister, we all up in the top bubble talking, and just out of nowhere I get this strange feeling. Without a care in the world I just stand up and crawl over to this boy, climb on him and kissed him. My brothers instantly jumped up and said, "Oh. We're telling Mom." I ran after them and tried to convince them not to, but I got in trouble for kissing. I had to be in timeout nearly the rest of our time there. I was allowed to go back in for 5 more minutes before we left. The little boy stopped me and asked if he could get a goodbye kiss. Sweetest memory I have of a simpler time. No, he didn't get the kiss because I just got a whopping, so obviously I wasn't going to do it again. 30, 28, which is the same age as I am now. A few months ago with my now boyfriend. He was a Bumble date and it was at the end of our first date. The first one wasn't great, even though I knew it was coming. He asked, I was still kind of shocked. Since then, though, there have definitely been some amazing kisses that have left my breathless. 19, 18, and he is the only guy I've ever kissed or dated. We've been together for 9 years, married for 3, and now have a beautiful baby girl. It was a really good kiss. 13. School was let out early due to a snowstorm. Got off the bus and walked with my friend as usual. We got to the bridge that we normal parted ways at. After our goodbye hug he kissed me. Snow falling and everything. My little teenage heart exploded. 17 years later he is now married to a wonderful, and I couldn't be happier for him. Good times. At my birthday party 2 days before I turned 16, I was 14, first crush and first kiss. 20 and not happening soon, but guy or woman doesn't matter. I'm a little scared though. I was 9. I was a weekend child at my dad's place and the neighbors had a weekend son. We were a little into each other. He was a 1 to 2 years older than me and spent some alone time in his room. Then he kissed me. I was smitten. That was a thing for like a year. I was 12, though the next kiss came at 17, almost 19, 13 on my 13th birthday. In retrospect it was pretty terrible, but then I thought it was great. I'd always been pretty boy crazy, 30 plus, and haven't yet. I almost kissed someone when I was 16, but the thought of it made me very close to dry heaving, so I ran away. I'm scared for that to happen again. 17. I was 19, I think, 14, it was sweet. It was this year. I was 14 and it was pretty nice. 14, 15, was the last of my friends. 15, 14, grade 2, so that's what, 6 or 7? It was traumatic and not by choice. My first real kiss was at 13 or 14. 19, I had just graduated from high school, and the guy I liked at the time had made an excuse to come over and hang out, watch movies with me because I didn't see him in school anymore. We were cuddling, I was laying on his chest, but he hadn't made a move to kiss me yet, so I decided to go for it. I have long hair, and all of my hair fell over my face and I awkwardly ended up kissing him through my hair. Thankfully he thought it was hilarious and endearing, and ended up moving all of my hair back so we could have an actual first kiss. Lamau. 15. A guy I had been crushing on for ages prior. We always had a little spark but never got together, for whatever reason. We're still vaguely friends now, and I'm happily in a relationship now for about a year and a half. I'm 21. Life is good. 2 hearts. Wayne's World 2 at the movies. Smile. I was 13. What do you mean by kiss? Like a French kiss? I had my first with 15. It's a funny story. I had been chatting with this girl and her best friend for 2.5 years. Then I decided to visit them. Went there. My parents didn't know. Solid 250 kilometers. We hung out and she kissed me like one of them. I chilled with her and her best friend at once. I was super stressed out because I thought my parents would find out. Wasn't as fun as it sounds. But yeah, that's how I got my first kiss. Unforgettable story. 14 with my first BF, we dated 3 whole weeks, then he dumped me for his ex. I cried haha. 14. With boy I was dating at the time. We were sitting in a hammock outside at dusk. It was pretty cute. I am now 20. Smile. I was 18. It was my second week at college and for some reason I found this douchebag cute, so when he needed help on an assignment I went to his room and helped him out. Started asking me about my dating life and I told him I hadn't even been kissed. Eventually asked to kiss me and then proceeded to make out with me and bite my lip so bad that I had a bruise. Slightly more went on, without my consent, but I was too shy at the time to stop things, and I didn't realize until 2 years later that I had most likely been sexually assaulted. I've grown up a lot since then, but me rushing into getting a first kiss was my downfall. 13. It was by the drink machines after school and I was on cloud 9 for days after lol. I was 16 to 17 I think, but I knew what to do cause I watched a lot of novellas. 22, didn't really expect it, neither did I like it. I think I was 12. We went on a group date to the fair and he kissed me on the Ferris wheel at night while my friends watched and giggled from another seat, or whatever they're called on Ferris wheels. I was 14 and had been with my boyfriend for a month. He was walking me home and asked if he could give me a goodnight kiss when we got there. I was so nervous that I put on about 30 layers of lip gloss by the time we got home, so it was very slippery, lol. We've now been together for 16 years and married for 6, smiley face. 12 to 13. Movies. His tongue just went in my mouth and laid there. Like a blob. So I thought was how to French kiss Earl. Thanks, Kyle. 13, it was awesome. Then a couple of weeks later caught him kissing another girl. Ouch. I don't remember. 2 days after my 16th birthday. I was 14. He kissed the side of my mouth at a school band performance and I'm still mad about it. 18, 14, as a friend kiss maybe 7, but my first kiss with a partner was at 14, 14, embarrassed smiley face, removed. 19, my first boyfriend, I liked him a lot. The first kiss was really bad. He basically attacked me with his tongue, then our teeth crashed together. I still cringe every time I think about it. I think 12, however it was just a peck. No making out or anything for a while later. 18, 13, 15, 13, playing truth or dare. Incredibly slobbery. 12 and it was awkward as hell. 14, close to turning 15. It felt like everyone had already partners, and then I found someone who was also a bit outcast like me. Who was willing to be with me? Oh well, 5 years of my teen years spent on that guy, while I could have been taking my studies and career plans more seriously. Not worth it. Somewhere between like 10 to 12. I went to camp every summer and always had crushes on the boys. Pretty harmless kissing. 15, 18 with a man, 23 with a woman, 16 and it was terrible. I was 14 and it was with my BF at the time. 14 in front of my high school locker. Just thinking about it makes me cringe, not counting spin the bottle type friend kisses. First serious kiss, 24, 14 at a school dance and it freaked me the fridge out, was 13. My then boyfriend, lol, and I planned to meet behind the school after our last class. We kissed and then he walked me home. 15. It was a terrible kiss. 15. I was done with the wait so I traded a kiss for a sip of his booze. Highly underwhelming. 14. During Meet the Fockers. It was very wet. There were a lot of braces involved. 17. I had a couple. First one I was drunk AF and so was the boy who shoved his tongue down my throat. Then later that year I finally made out with my number one crush, sober. We have had ups and downs since but I'm 37 now and we're getting married next year, probably 11, 14. But then not again until 25. 14. He was my first boyfriend and high school sweetheart. 15, 14, 13, and it was awful lol. 13, I was 13. We used to kiss for hours after that first one. Innocent first love. Smile. 15. My first real boyfriend. Ugh. He was awful. 10 or 11, we made out in front of the boys' toilet while a friend kept guard to make sure no teachers came. But I was an early bloomer, first one of my friends to make out and first one to have sex. I was just always really interested in boys. I was 14, sneaking around in the all too brief window between the end of practice and the time I told my mom to pick me up. He turned to face me, put his hands on my shoulders, slide them all the way behind my neck, and despite my puny brain still sputtering words out through my braced teeth, planted a gentle, prodding, wet, soft, electrifying kiss right on my mouth. In addition to the weird but addictive sensation of blubbery lips rubbing together, I had my first racially charged awakening. Wow, Mexicans really know how to kiss. After a few minutes we held hands and walked down the hall and around the corner only to find my mother, coat open and streaming behind her like a bat out of hell as she stomped towards us in that way that only a mother can stomp. Such tender times. We forget that freshman year is often the beginning of our earliest conscious selves. I was 15. We didn't last long. She eventually got a boyfriend that went to another school, and I was stupid enough to let her use me to cheat on him. 13, 16, 14, technically at 5 as part of sexual abuse. Consensual, at 17 on my second date with the guy who later on that date became my boyfriend. It was honestly terrible. I was the one without experience and I had to teach him how to kiss like a human person because he was horrid. 12, almost 13. He was a year older than me and had a girlfriend. I liked him, but I didn't know if he liked me because he was always flirting with every girl. We skipped high school and made out in his house. I invited him to my house that afternoon and he said that he shouldn't have done it because he had a girlfriend. He left and I didn't see him in class the next day. Then he ignored me for weeks until he replied to one of my texts, pretended that nothing had happened, and started to tell me about the other girl with who he had cheated on her GF after me. We went to the same high school for a few more years, but we have ignored each other ever since. 8th grade, so 13 I think. I was 12 and did a middle school dance. Everyone made us do it and it was super weird. 13, 14, but I wish I hadn't felt so pressured to get it over with. Maybe then it would have been with someone special. 16 was my first proper kiss, with my first boyfriend. 15 or 16. Made out with a friend during the school disco. I was 14. It was with a guy I had been crushing on at school and we've been together for 6 years since. 16 with my then boyfriend, later fiancé, and finally ex. I was about 15. He lived next door. Good times. 15, 13, it was at an amusement park. Nothing special. 12 and it wasn't great. Slobbered but maybe he felt same. Several months later I kissed someone else and it was amazing though. Taught me how to kiss actually. 15 or 16. I'm 27 and still waiting for mine, waiting for that special someone. 13 and it was nice. 15. I was 13. 12. and I kissed 2 different boys within 2 weeks. Then, nothing for years afterward. 15. Reading this thread made me realize I was really young at 14, first HS boyfriend. My friends also all had their first kisses, so I didn't think I was that young. Sorry to interrupt the ladies, M/24 in here. Got my first kiss at 16 with my best female friend. I liked her since the moment I saw her. I was 8 at that time. I have to say, I had a few GFs in all these years, but none was like her. Apparently I am a good kisser too somehow. To all of you that didn't have theirs yet, all I can is wait. You'll know that when you find the one you want to kiss, hell, it's gonna be the only thing you are gonna think about. Don't rush it. If he's special, he will make it special too. I am very sorry if I can't write. It's Sunday and I'm slightly drunk. 16, and I was the one who took the initiative. It was simple and sweet. 12. I started having boyfriends around that age. I was 12. We kissed in the courtyard before class started. I was 15. The setting was romantic, under the fireworks on the 4th of July, but the kiss itself was awful. I don't think either of us knew what we were doing. I was glad to have gotten it over with though. I feel like society puts so much pressure on your first everything, and it was one thing I didn't have to worry about anymore. 15, like 13, had mine at 12, to a sweet guy that I was on and off steady with until college. 13-ish, 7th grade with my first boyfriend, but he only did it to make his friend jealous, so that sucked. 15, 14, 13, 14? Maybe 13. With my boyfriend at the time. It was May. I didn't get what all the fuss was about until a few weeks later when I suddenly started to actually enjoy kissing. I think I was 13, 14. Smile. 14, 11, 6th grade, with another 11-year-old boy I had been crushing on. It was slobbery and gross because we both sucked at it. But it also helped me understand I just wasn't into him. I was really just horny, and so I dropped him quickly thereafter. Looking back on it, I was always ahead of my peers sexually, but thank God I was confident and had a reasonably good head on my shoulders. I always went for good guys, and always avoided boys more than 3 years older than me. At 13, I found a great kisser and promptly made him my boyfriend. So women who really like affection, know what we want and aren't afraid to pursue it hard. Yeah, we exist out there too. 13, thought we loved each other, but he basically used me for sex at 15. We were both the same age, and kept dumping me when he got bored every year from 13 to 16 basically until we parted ways for different sixth forms. 12, 13. We were BF/GF, for 3+ years. 13 or 14 with a guy. 16 or 17 with a girl. The girl was much better, which is probably why I remember it more than the guy. 15, I was 13, he was 14, 14 with my boyfriend in the back of a car. It was kinda cringe. I was 12 or 13. It was not amazing and he wasn't a great guy. I'd say the real first actual kiss was probably 13, 12. I was 26-ish. Honestly, I don't even remember what it felt like anymore. That relationship didn't work out. Didn't even make it 6 months. I was 13 with a guy I had a crush on my entire life. He was one of my best friends too, and I'm glad he was my first kiss. Never happened anything after that. We're still very good friends now. A few days before my 15th birthday, 13 lol. I was 14. I got my first and second kiss on the same night. I kissed a boy and a girl. It was also my first time getting drunk, so I don't remember the order. I just remember the feeling. I remember kissing the boy and just being like May. I remember kissing the girl and it felt so good, so right. 15. Early bloomer, kinda handed out kisses lol. 15. Our teeth clashed a bit, but we worked it out and still working it out 5 years later. A peck at 13, I was smitten. All in slobbery, tongue at 15. I was disgusted. I went home and washed out my mouth. 15 smile. 13. It was with my girl best friend, I'm a girl too, and that eventually led me to believe I was gay for a couple years lol. Very confusing, so my advice is to never just do it out of curiosity. 19 But I didn't feel the same way he felt about me. He was friends with my friend and told her to introduce us. I talked to him, he bought me a drink and it happened. Wasn't bad, but I definitely didn't want to give it another shot. Didn't have my second kiss until my 21st birthday, and that was with a guy I totally had a crush on and it was great. 20. Didn't get along with boys at school and was bullied. Dated someone from the internet. He asked me if he could kiss me, 12. That was 25 years ago. He's still one of my favorite people in the world, though we're not together. He walked me home in the winter. We had cold noses. It was a little wetter than I'd expected. But it was wonderful. Heart. 14, 21 to 22. I regret it though because it was just a hookup with a random guy, but then I met my BF a few weeks later and I wish I waited. 19, I was in 8th grade. My BF just kissed me out of the blue. It was awkward. My 15th birthday, boyfriend took me outside and it was a cute, quick little peck on the lips. 17, 21. It was with my first boyfriend. 19, on a nearly empty, very early morning metro to school. I had my first kiss just a couple of months back. I am 24, about 17 years old and my senior year of high school. It was very weird how I came about it lol. 18 and with 2 other girls, no joke. Not the best introduction to kissing I'll admit, but I think I'm pretty good at it now. About to turn 18. And I lost my virginity like 2 weeks later, ha ha ha. I was 18, with my first boyfriend. I've had much better kisses since. I am a male, but in case you still want to know, I had my first at 18. She was a lesbian, so she wanted to see if she could be straight. I was not informed about this. I thought she liked me. Got dumped 2 days later. 19. Virgin. No kiss yet. 15. I kissed a 20-year-old guy I'd met a few days before at a ballroom dance event. Was pretty awesome. Where I live, a lot of people find their so by going out dancing together. So for everyone who hasn't had their first kiss yet, go ballroom dancing. The guys there are mostly gentle and kind and obviously don't care too much about social norms lest they wouldn't be there. 15 and very drunk for the first time in my life. It was a boyfriend of a girl who I went to same school with. Not proud of it, there was quite a lot of drama later. 69. Not yet, but hopefully my boyfriend can come visit this summer. Smiley face. I was 6 and he was 7. Our parents were friends and loved that we were boyfriend and girlfriend. Like 6 or 7, DDD. 27, 27, 25 years old, crying face. 6 I had a good time when I was 6, 4, about 6. He was my best friend, crush. It was pretty cute. My father was dropping him off at home from school. While my dad was talking to his mother, he took me behind some bushes and told me he wanted me to be his first kiss, smiley face. 8, which was a peck. 20 when it was a first proper makeout, kindergarten, smiley face. I got in trouble because I had a crush on this guy. One day during reading time I leaned over and kissed him. The teacher giggled and told me to stop, but she still had to tell my mom, who had a talk with me, that you can't just go around kissing and loving people without their consent. 22. Never cared that much about it. At 26, super late I suppose. 5, we thought kisses were something sacred and forbidden. Actual kiss. 16, 21. I was super embarrassed about never kissing anyone before, but he was super understanding and made the experience pleasant for me. I kept nervous laughing in the middle of it because I didn't know what I was doing. Turns out he thought the laughs were cute lol. 2 years old, it was an accident I swear. 8, I was 19, but nothing else happened until I was 25. 11, 6 with a neighbor girl. My parents had cable and I saw stuff I shouldn't have. 12 with my first real boyfriend. I was 25. It was okay I guess lol. 10 or 11. We kissed and made out multiple times, actually. We used to go to dances together and it was the sweetest thing to be wrapped up in his arms during a slow song and just have a kiss. In hindsight, it's actually next level romantic, which is hilarious. Imagine having an 11-year-old boy softly sing, "Don't wanna miss a thing" in your ear while holding you tight and gently swaying with you, and then kissing you. Like, holy shit, I'd give my left arm to bag a guy with that much charm these days. 11. The other person was also 11 and had also never kissed someone before, so it was a gross mess. I'm 36 and still waiting. I was 14. It's really disappointing to me, all 3 of my first kisses were women. They weren't bad, but I'm straight. 13 and it was literally traumatic. A week ago. I'm 23F. I was 24, 26 and it was awful to the point where I question if I ever want to do it again, and it's now been years and I still have that feeling. 12. I skipped the innocent peck and jumped right into making out. Later I realized how wrong it was. Edit. I felt later it was wrong for an older teenager to be kissing and feeling up on a 12-year-old like they did.